William?
Namo, fundamental teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo, fundamental teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo, fundamental teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. The unsurpassed, deep, profound, subtle, wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million eons is difficult to encounter. Now that I have come to hold and receive it within my sight and hearing, I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual meaning.
Okay. Good. Last time we learned about this one already, so we will continue on. Instead of this, we can do 1 minute meditation. Okay. Okay, we can start our meditation. All right. Good. I think today I will show you the story about Magalana, the death of Magalana. I think it's Tammy already watched that with the other class, but William, did you have you seen that story? Did you heard that? Did you hear that story?
Not that I recall. If I have, it was a little bit ago and I've forgotten it.
Okay, I think this is a very good story, and this will I will walk through and we learn about ignorance, right? So that is a good thing. So we understand from the power of the karma. Okay, William, you can pay attention to this and summarize the story. So you know who is Magalana, right? William?
Yes.
He's the second chief disciple of the Buddha.
Yes.
From his celestial travels, the Venerable Moggallana explained that he saw virtuous followers of the Buddha in various states of heavenly rebirths. In addition, he saw that the followers of other sects that lacked moral conduct ended up in hell rebirths. This caused many people to convert from other sects to Buddhism. The leaders of the sects were very upset at the loss of fame, income, comfort, and support from their old members. They argued about what they should do. Instead of looking within themselves, the leaders blamed the loss of support on the venerable Mokalana. They came to the consensus that revenge was their best option. They decided to hire professional criminals to assassinate the venerable Mokalana. The venerable Mokalana, being the foremost in psychic powers of all beings other than the Buddha, realized their intentions. Being an Arahant, he no longer had fear of death, because he knew he would reach Nibbana, never to be born again. Rather, he had compassion for the lost and confused souls that wished him harm. Killing an Arahant is one of the 5 karukama, evil karmas that yield the most horrendous results. The 5 karukama are killing your mother, killing your father, killing an Arahant, causing the Buddha to bleed, causing a break in the Sangha. The hired assassins watched from a distance and saw that the venerable Mokalana was inside his kuti. However, when they kicked the door in, they found that no one was inside. They were confused since they knew he was in there when they approached. What they didn't know was that when the venerable Mokalana sensed that the assassins were near, he used his abilities to disappear. For 6 days, the criminals returned and bursted into the kuti. Each time they did so, they found that the kuti was empty. And on the 7th day, when the venerable Mokalana sensed their return, he used his psychic powers to discern how many more times they would come back. He determined that they would not stop until they had killed him. Upon further searching, he saw that this was a remnant of the karukama that he had committed a long time ago. Although he had already burned in the lowest hells for longer than the mind can understand, the evil of that karma had not yet been fully repaid. He then understood that no matter how many times he wished to save the criminals from creating a karukama, he could not escape his own karma. So, on their 7th try, the criminals burst in and found the venerable Mokalana sitting in his usual spot. They grabbed him and dragged him outside, where they proceeded to beat him viciously. Seeing the monk was close to death, they left him to die in the forest. Then they went to report the news and to collect their reward. Deep in their hearts, they knew that what they had done was morally disgusting and vile. Yet their greed and desire for money overshadowed their sense of morality. With his last ounces of strength, the venerable Mokalana used his psychic abilities to repair some of his broken bones and organs. He flew to the Buddha to say his last farewells before he died. When he arrived in front of the Buddha, he said, "Master, today is my last day on this earth, and will be my last forever. I will soon enter Nibbana. Mokalana, there have been no better chief disciples than you and Sariputta. After today, I will not ever be able able to look upon your face again. Before you leave, express the Dhamma so that all may hear. The Venerable Moggallana took his seat in the air and performed miracles and supernatural feats while preaching the Dhamma. The heavens shook, and the Devas and gods cried, knowing that they would not see another holy being such as him again for immeasurable amounts of time. The monks present were shaken by the depth and eloquence of his Dhamma, and many progressed further in their practice. And finally, when he was finished, the Venerable Moggallana paid his last respects to the Buddha and flew away to his last resting spot, where he entered final Nibbana. And after his body was cremated, all that remained of the Venerable Moggallana were his Arahant relics, the final physical proof that he was truly an Arahant. What did you learn from this story? We hope you enjoyed the video. Click like if you did, and click subscribe if you want to see our uploads.
Okay, William.
Yes. So we see that the ripening of the fruit of some karma can take some time to like fully be resolved after a deed is done. Even though he had suffered tremendously, it seems kind of like one might scrub out a stain or something. Initially, you could scrub really hard and get the top layers. You may have to keep scrubbing for a while until the deeper layers come out. And what the condition of someone's mind is very decisive in what happens associated with that returning of karma. Because if Moggallana was differently minded, he might use his powers to hurt those people or keep them from killing him, and then he could have incurred more karma. But he was an arahant, so the condition was such that he wasn't attached, and so he was just ready to accept what was and stay in accordance with being compassionate.
So the psychic power is not the supreme, right? Mm-hmm. Thang Thiền, do you have any thought on this thing?
The way, the way I see is Moggallana. He uses psychic powers. You see that they wanted to kill him many times, but they were unable to do that. But so Moggallana is very compassionate, and he doesn't want them to create a heavy karmas, which caused them to be born in hell for a very long time. So he see that if he uses psychic power to escape from them, it's not going to happen, because they will come there, they will find him. They will still have to come and kill him. So he used his power to see that he created a similar karma like in the past life, so that he understand that he has to accept the karma that he created, and he had to go through the suffering. Um,
Yeah, thank you. Okay, let me ask you a question here. Either you or anyone. Let me tell you a quick story. I did summarize. I make it short, very short. There were in the past for a while, at the same time the Buddha in the world, there were the executioner. Before he became the executioner, he would. I think I told you the story about this, right? I think so. He was the executioner. Before he became executioner, he um, he was a robber with the 1,000 robber, right? And you know what? The local government be able to capture them all. And you know what? They want to find who will willing to execute all this 1,000. And the one who do that, they will pardon. When they will be pardoned from sentence, from execution. So they asked everyone in the 1,000. No one wanted. And when they come to this guy, the one who joined the 1,000, he very evil, and he willing to do that because they don't want to be punished, right? So yes, he did that, and after he killed 1,000, and you know what? They give him the job to hold this position for many years. And for when he get old, he no longer be able to perform that task. So on the last day of his work, right, before he retired, so Venerable Sariputta went to his house because he, in his meditation, he saw that this one have affinity with him. So if today he not help the executioner, he will fall into hell and stay there for a long time. So what he do is he went to the executioner house, and the executioner were the last meal offered by the government. And you know what? He said that if I use this meal for myself, there's no benefit for me on the path of my death. So if I'm going to make an offer to this venerable, I might get some benefit. Well, and when he have that thought, he become joyful about that. He invite venerable to be put in, and he make an offer. After he make an offer, and Sariputta just blessing him with a few words. And he the joyful, and he have the joyful for the whole day. And in the evening when he walked out, he was hit by the mad cow, and he died instantly. And when he died instantly, he will be able to be born into to Sita heaven. Okay, because his consciousness very strong when he have all the faith into Venerable Sariputta. That's why he be able to be born. Let me ask you a question here. What happened to his? I think Tammy already know this answer. What happened to his all his killing karma? Will that were gone when he be born into the heaven? William?
No, that wouldn't be gone. Just like Moggallana had to answer for the Garu karma that he created, the executioner would at some point have to answer for the ripening of those karmic effects. But if he practiced, he continued to practice, then hopefully by the time those effects were ripening, that he would be better able to accept the consequences without making more karma.
But what about when he up there? Do you think that he will pay for his bad karma in the heaven?
No, I don't think in Tusita. I don't think there's any mechanism to really deliver bad karma into Sita. I mean, if you're there, I mean, maybe his own mind might be distressed. He might be very remorseful and ashamed because he would be seeing all of the people around him and seeing how good of people these were. And he could probably see more clearly that these actions he did were very bad. But I don't think I don't think the causes would, or the effects of that karma would fall on him while he was still there. They'd probably fall on him once he'd reincarnated again. But I don't know.
Actually, the karma he yes, he brought with him to the heaven, and the bad retribution will be delayed at the time he in the heaven, because in the heaven all the blessing there, he enjoy the blessing. He don't even remember anything, right? Enjoy. But you know what? What happened when he died, right? What happened then?
When he died, then the karmic forces would come in and kind of chase him into a particular rebirth that would allow retribution.
So okay, then that means the karma. If he did not, if during the time he in the heaven he does not know how to practice the Buddha teaching, well, he keep create more karma. Then you know what? By the time we use all the blessing, he will fall very deep, right? The higher he in, the deeper he fall. So that tell me that easy, right? Thân thiện and tell me.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what does it mean? It means that the law of karma is the supreme law. No one can change it, even the Buddha. Even the Buddha. You remember the Buddha, his Sakya claim were massacred by the king, right? You remember that? He cannot be able to save his Sakya kingdom. Okay. So that's why the law of karma is very fair. If you did bad thing, you pay for it. But same thing, right? Even though in the Sakya king, the one that who became the Arahant, and well, they pay it, but the way they pay, they don't feel the pain because they in the meditation samadhi. But we don't have that ability. When we pay the pain. That's the difference, right? Okay. Let what another the same thing. It will be the last part of the death of the Moggallon. We will see what he did.
After the death of the Venerable Moggallana, the criminals went to a tavern and imbibed strong drinks. When the first criminal became drunk, he began to brag out loud that he was the first to strike the venerable Mokalana. The second criminal struck him and said, "How could you say that? I struck him first." Which led to the third criminal crying out, "Hey, I struck him first." What the criminals hadn't known was that after the murder, King Ajatasattu had sent spies throughout the kingdom with orders to find the murderers. A spy overheard them arguing and called in the soldiers and had them arrested. They were questioned before the king and confessed that the naked ascetics were the ones who hired them. The king then had the naked ascetics caught, publicly tortured, and executed. When the monks heard about this, they began discussing it in the Hall of Truth. They were confused how the Venerable Mahamokalana, the being who possessed the greatest set of psychic abilities second only to the Buddha, could have met such a death. The Buddha responded, "Monks, if you only consider this present existence, then it would seem like Mokalana met a death that he did not deserve. However, if you took all of his existences, then you would see that his death exactly matched the karma he created in the past." When the monks asked for the story, the Buddha explained. A long time ago, a youth had the responsibility of caring for his blind parents. He was happy to do so in order to repay them for giving birth to him and caring for him as a child. However, his parents felt guilty that their son had to live such a difficult life. They decided to find him a suitable wife. In the beginning, the young woman waited upon his blind mother and father. However, after a few days, she began to resent her new life and his blind parents. So in order to turn the son against his parents, the young hateful woman waited for her husband to leave the house and scattered broken clay and rice on the floor, so it would seem as if his parents made a mess for her to clean. When he returned home, she quickly pointed to the mess and said, "Look, dear, look at what your parents do to me when you're not home. I can't live like this." Much to her surprise and distaste, the young man merely bent down and cleaned the mess himself. Not ready to give up, the young woman kept complaining until she eventually won the young man over. He reluctantly agreed to get rid of his parents so that they could live a happy life together. He was blinded by his love and lust for his wife, and forgot his duties and debt to his parents. So one day, he convinced his parents to go on a journey to visit relatives in a faraway town. He led the horse while his parents sat in the carriage. When they arrived at a secluded spot in the forest, the son gave his father the reins and said, "Around here there are said to be many thieves. Let me scout ahead to make sure it is safe." And after walking some distance away, he looked back upon his parents at the cart. In order to gather the nerve to do what he agreed to, he told himself, "They are the reason that my wife can't live a good life. It is because of them that my wife might leave me. They cause us hardship. They can't work or take care of themselves, and they're a burden. We'd be better off if they were dead." He repeated this to himself until he believed that it was true. Then, Suddenly and viciously, in the guise of a thief looking to rob them, he heartlessly attacked his father and mother. However, to his surprise, as he attacked them within an inch of their life, he heard his father and mother scream, "Son, get away! Son, protect yourself! Save yourself! Don't come back! Don't worry about us! We are old and blind. Let us die so that you can live." Hearing this, the son realized that even in their final moments of life, even as they were being beaten and just moments away from death, his parents' only wish was not for their own safety or deliverance, but for his. This sudden realization cleared his mind of all the thoughts of anger and hatred his wife planted in him. His thoughts of sensual pleasures with his wife were overpowered by a flooding sense of shame. Here he was, killing his loving parents as they sought to protect him. What kind of animal am I? What kind of horrible creature am I? What have I become? The repentant son dropped his stick and pretended to chase the imaginary robbers away. "Mother, father, I have returned. Don't worry, I chased the robbers away." They weakly rebuked him. "Son, why did you come back? You're old and blind and cause you nothing but suffering. You shouldn't have risked your life." The heartbroken son tried his best to mend the wounds that his evil hands had wrought upon his loving parents. With the same hands that just sought to kill them, he tried hopelessly to save their lives and take back that which had already happened. As their final breaths left their broken bodies, the repentant son screamed, "Mother, father, I am sorry. Don't leave me. Please don't leave me. Forgive me. I didn't know. I didn't mean to. Please, please." Unfortunately, there was no one left to hear his cries. There was no one left to forgive him for his evil. But the guilt of his immensely evil action burned into his mind's eye. He immediately went to Awiti, the lowest and most horrendous hell after he died. This level of hell is reserved for those who commit the most heinous of actions. There, he burned and was tortured for eternities. And with that, the Buddha concluded the story. We only think things are unfair and unjust when taken as singular events. However, if we knew all that we have done in past lives, we would see that all things that transpire are a result of causes created in the past. There is no result that has no cause. There is no cause that does not lead to a result. There is no fairer law than the law of karma. What did you learn from this story? We hope you enjoyed the
Okay, William.
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So this is giving a context for Mogollana's death at the hands of these robbers, because just considering the lifetime that the followers of the Buddha were familiar with for Mogollana, they didn't see any causes that would lead to him being uh, subject to this sort of consequence. And the Buddha shared, well, the law of karma, it spans countless lifetimes. And so the story of seeing what he had done in a past life explains why he had this retribution now, and is I think helpful for us to consider that if there's some difficulty that we're facing that's out of our control, these sort of things that just seem to happen, that we can contemplate that, we've got countless past lives, and surely in many of them, I wasn't virtuous and kind to everyone. Yeah.
So what do we learn from this story?
That or as far as karmic retribution is concerned, it spans across lifetimes. And so something that good things can happen to bad people, bad things can happen to good people. And it's not necessarily coming from actions they've taken that life.
Right. So tell me.
Yes.
Okay, based on the explanation of from William, so can we use that for our scenario? What do you think?
Can we use it for what?
For our own scenario, that means our own life. Can we benefit from learning this?
Well, sure. Yeah. So it just goes to show that whatever situation we're born into, is that it's some kind of karmatic debt from the past. And then how you choose to live it and create different conditions will be the way that you kind of move forward with it. But you can't escape it. So once it's done, it's done. So you're always going to have to pay it back, even in multiple lives, probably.
So you know that we in this life more suffering than happy, right? I think most of that is the case for most of us. But the good thing is when we understand the Buddha teaching in this way, so it doesn't matter what kind of negative comment affinity that we see in our life. It happened to us. We willing to accept it, and we try the best to create a good condition to transform the negative comment affinity into positive comment affinity. This is the whole purpose of us to practice. That's what we call the way. That's what we call the path. And in order to do this quickly, and in the Mahayana, the practice of the Bodhisattva path is the quick way to repay the debt that we prayed in the past. Do you know why, William?
Why the Bodhisattva path is the quick way to repay the debt?
Yeah. Don't you
Well,
think?
I mean, inherent in the Bodhisattva path are all of these virtues of giving that come out of an appreciation of no self. And so if someone comes and asks for anything, a Bodhisattva, if it's in their power, will give it to them, even their own flesh, their own, their head even. So it would be quick in the sense that generally if someone would come and ask for something like that, unreasonable, a normal person like me, I'd say no. And so then I would have to, at some point, it would probably then be taken from me in a future life. Whereas if instead of it being forcefully taken, if it was willingly given, then that would seem to be faster.
The reason is the mentality of the Bodhisattva habits. They look at the living being, it's not a burden. We look at the living being as a burden. That means the debt collector is a burden. Or the negative affinity, the negative comment affinity is a burden, right?
Mm.
But to the Bodhisattva, they do not have that discrimination mind because they have no self, right? Therefore, they are the mind of equanimity. They look at the living being as the field of blessing. The field of blessing. Just like we look at the triple gem, right, as the field of blessing. The Buddha blessing field, the Dharma blessing field, and the Sangha blessing field. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bodhisattva, it's not only look at the triple gem at the field of blessing. They look at the sentient being or the living being at the field of blessing. Because without them, they cannot be able to practice the Bodhisattva path. Right? When we have that mindset, doesn't matter what kind of negative affinity we encounter in life, we will try our best. Because due to that mindset, we will not have the resentment. We will not be, the resentful thought will not arise. That's important. That's why the negative affinity will not be able to increase more negative. It's only decreased and it will transform into positive. This is important. Therefore, when we have that mindset, yes, we be able to quickly repay the debt that we have with the debt collector. Because when they come to us, we try the best to transform them into the positive. But without the self attached to it. That means we according to their condition, we go with it. But we uphold our principle. That's important. We do not force them to go with our way, but we go with their way. Due to the condition according to whatever the condition we try the best to be flexible, but using our principle. That's important. Does it make sense?
Yes.
This requires a lot of year practice, patience. You can, when we do this, we what do we call? We are the one who are willing to have the great loss, to have the loss. But you know what? Those kind of loss for the material, it's not the big that is not the big loss. But what do we gain? We have the big gain instead of those things. The big gain is the patience, the love and kindness that we practice. That is the most gain That is the greatest gain we have. In order to have this gain, you should have the loss. You willing to have the loss for the material or for whatever you put your time, your material, your labor, and your loving kindness to mending the broken relationship we have with them in the past. Does it make sense?
Yes.
This requires many years. Sometimes take us 10 years, 20 years. But the timing is not important. When we do something, especially in the practice of the patient, don't look at the time. Time has no value. Because when you look at the time, you will give up, you will withdraw. But when you do not pay attention to the time, the whole purpose is we try our best to transform the condition. That's the whole purpose in life that we have. That's all we do. Use our impermanent body to benefit all. Tell me, does that make sense to you? Tell me.
Yes.
It's easy to say, but it's very tough to do. I know. It's very easy to say, but it's very tough to do. That makes the difference between us with the rest of other people. That's what we call practice. That's what we call cultivation. So especially this negative common affinity is not outside, usually in the family, within the family. Okay? Most of the time we see it in the family. If we be able to do it, then you know what? You can live anywhere with anyone. Okay? So that is a good thing. Due to Magalana ignorance in the past, he created the bad karma because he had so much desire with his wife. Right? The craving. That's why ignorance plus craving that leads to the terrible karma that he prayed. But now now we understand that he have to pay for that. Okay, so and we also know that don't look at the single life or single event life to just for the karma. It's fair or not fair, because that's not how the law of the karma works. Okay. All right. I think we very that's easy to understand. And Jimmy and Thắng Thiện. John, you understand?
Yeah, but thầy Mô Phật, yes, very straightforward. That means what you planned and then what you got, for the future that you have to pay for.
Okay, Thắng Thiện, you have any question? You have a question for me?
So if we created a commerce in the previous life and this lifetime and just focus on the present moment and just do what you do to pay back the debt. Let's say if we created a caring commerce in the past life or this life, so we can pay it back by releasing pets and business, so that we can pay back for what we pay back for the bad karma, right?
Well, yeah, when you encounter the bad karma, right? The bad retribution, what is a good thing to do? let's say the negative comment of infinity, right? You encounter those things. Well, should we against it or should we what?
I think we will try what we can to transform the bad to the good, such as transform the hatred to loving kindness, or transform from greed into giving, and like that.
Good, that's good. All right. Let today I will go. This is a very sensitive topic, but it's worth it to discuss. I think it's worth it to discuss. And Jimmy, go ahead and read this one regarding.
Yeah, Mô Phật bà thầy. The number one.
Yeah, F.
Oh, regarding. Okay, yeah, Mô Phật. Regarding abortion in the U.S. in 2017, there were 862,320 abortions. 13.6 women in 1,000 women age between 15 and 44 years old. Usually, the aborted fetus will not follow the 49 days period of the bottle body. Before the fetus dies, there will be great resentment towards the mother. The spirit of the fetus will be extremely difficult to be liberated. This was due to lacking understanding or belief in the law of cause and effect, or in law of karma.
Good. So what do you understand from this?
Yes, I understand is, yeah, but how I understand is when the fetus is before 49 days, a period, 49-day period, it does not understand.
Not, well, they usually they do not go through this period.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, the spirit of the fetus have a difficult time to elaborate because it's the lack of understanding or believe in the law, cause, effect, and the law of karma. So yeah, I bring to my question. If that's the case, where do they go? How do they process, and where do they live, and what happens? Thank you. Yeah.
William, help me. Where do they go?
I don't know. They go to the lower realms, or I'm not sure.
They go nowhere.
Oh, they just stay in the Bardo body.
Yeah, they attach to the mom, right? They will not be. Therefore, until the mom have another pregnancy, they might come back and to become the child of that parent. And you know what? It becomes the rebellion child. It's not the good child one. Okay. So the reason is, you know why they cannot go, William?
They're in beginning to grow as a fetus. They lose track of I think the knowledge or awareness they had in the Bardo state, and definitely of their previous life. And so they're much more confused. They don't understand what's going on as much. It's probably much more on a very basic level of thought and feeling and understanding. It's
So, but that not really hold them, right? So what did really hold them? Not
the anger towards the mother, right? Would
Yes.
that be?
The resentment. The resentment is the most critical thing. Because they only know that state of the resentment, nothing else. That is the emotional affliction. Tammy, do you have any idea?
So I hadn't heard that before, but that makes sense. So what would have helped them to finally pass on? Not till the mother passes away, or till the mother has another child, and then will they go to the lower realms if they don't return to the mother?
And you know what? This is the venerable Master Changhua. That means my teacher, right? So that's my grand teacher. He said that the most difficult border, that means the most difficult border of spiritual to help for them to be liberated. That is the fetus. Because you know their mind is very naive. Their mind is just like the baby, not even only a few months, right? And they don't know anything. The only thing they know, the emotional, just like you said. And therefore, they're not willing. Whatever you try to say, yeah, you try to tell them, talk to them. They could not be able to grab that concept. Just like the people who in this world, right? We still alive when we talk to the one that who have emotional affliction with us. Do you think you can convince them? William, what do you think?
No, not at all.
No. You know what? I saw this. Well, they some person is practice Buddhism for a long time, right? Many years, maybe 20 years. But when they come to emotion, you know what? Due to the emotional affliction and the mouth, the way the mouth, when they say something to hurt the parent or the sibling relationship, from that day on, they disconnect all the communication for many years. Does that make sense? This is very dangerous. This is what we call the mana consciousness, the shell, the cell. They have a shell and also the procession of the cell, right? This is very powerful. They will block our mind. When they block our mind, our communication will shut down. The live person, the one who understands the Buddha teaching, cannot be able to do. What about the body? No way. Only the true cultivators who have most virtue, who have a lot of virtue, yes, they can be able to help this kind of body. But it's very rare. You don't see this kind of a cultivator in this world, not many. That's why the more killing karma exists in this world, the world turns upside down. Don't you see that? The society we have nowadays, everything is violent, everything upside down. Due to the killing karma. Yeah. That's why the more killing, the more, just like the air pollution, right? It's similar concept. This is more danger than the air pollution. So it's very, very tough. So we have to be careful when we deal with it. When we come to the decision, to make the decision about abortion or not. Yes, sometimes it, you know what, there's someone complain that, well, there are many cases, right? That the baby is defect, right? Inside the mother womb. What can we do? If we born them, they have to live that for the rest of their life. It's not fair for them. What do you think, William?
It's understandable for someone to think that, because if they're not considering karma, if they're not considering previous lives, but if we consider the teachings of the Buddha of how rare it is to even get a human life, that even if there is some defect in it, well, that's a karma that has to be played out for that individual, and still it's, you know, it's a precious thing, a precious life, and to end that would necessarily incur karma from the person who chose to prevent that person from leading a life. And maybe there's some debt that parent owes to that child, and that's why that they're being born to them and at the time that the child has the defect. And so if they don't repay the debt and they go even further and they incur a new debt, well, then it's just causing more problems later on.
This is called the common link, right? The common link, you link for many lives. So that's why in Buddhism, we also have a way to help the mom and the baby karma. We can transform that karma. If you remember, I showed you the video related to water, right? The thought and the word, right, from the mouth can affect the water molecule. Same thing. We can chanting the Buddha teaching. The Buddha teaching represents for the pure energy. Because it's the truth, right? It's the truth of the universe. That is the pure energy. When we chanting, we are just like the instrument, right? We use the instrument to generate that kind of energy, and that energy will purify the mom and the fetus come, and everything turn out beautiful. This story, a lot of this story in our culture. This is not mystery. It happened a lot. Okay, so that's why this kind of teaching help us to, because everything comes from the mind, right? The karma we pray come from the mind. Now we use the mind to clean it. Nothing else. No one give us the karma, not God, but we. Now we, the one who change it. That is the beautiful. We pray the good condition, we can change the bad cause into the good aspect. The good condition is we chanting and we practice the chanting in the sincere way. Everything could change. Does it make sense to you, Thang Thiện and Tammy?
Yes, that makes sense.
So that's important. Next week I will use the eight consonant model to walk you through the death and rebirth cycle of the fetus and the mother who create the killing scenario. They will cost their future life. They will cost, right? What happened then? I will show you that. I use the 8 concept model, you will understand it. Okay, this is very powerful teaching. Okay, so did it make sense to you, William? The model can help you understand that the death of rebirth cycle in the future birth. They will see each other. And what do they do? Okay. All right, we stop right here. And we today we let me stop a little bit early because okay, I have something to do. We skipped the mantra today. Sorry for that. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. John.
May every living being on mine is one radiant of light. Share the fruits of peace, but hearts of goodness, luminous, and bright. If people hear and see all hands and heart combined, giving unity, and their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and joy. A countless pound reward man with sorrow, leave their grief and pain. That is bound to break the darkness of the endless night. Because our heart is one as well, pain turned to paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise.
Okay, thank you. No more either. That's good. Thank you. John, do you understand what we have discussed so far?